It's good to see you guys. It's good to be back. The bye was good for us. A lot of opportunity to study and heal and improve, and we're looking forward to playing a Cincinnati team. I know that's inspired and have a lot of friends on that staff and a lot of defensive coaches that have learned with and from and shared with and everything, and impressed with what they do defensively. I know offensively, their run game and just their motions and their shifts are going to test us, and so we're excited about the opportunity to play and go out and get a win. With that, take any questions you guys got.
Dave, what were the things you targeted most during the bye week, and did you see improvement in those areas?
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think the number one thing was execution. I think, and then doing what we need to do execution-wise in a violent manner, right? And taking again, and I know this is a repeated thing, but taking again what we've done in practice and then applying it into the game, and especially when it matters most. And so I think the execution, the edge that's needed, to play the game the way it needs to be played when it matters most is the focus. And like I said, we got a great opportunity this Saturday to do that.
Did you make any type of protocol or staff changes at all during the off week?
No. I think throughout the week there was a lot of self study, and so we had our defense break down and look at the offense and vice versa. And so there's they had the majority of the week to do that. That was all kind of delivered and deciphered on Thursday, and I thought there's a lot of learnings in that, and we're really leaning into that and applying a lot of those truths, however ugly, bad or good, to help us get better. And so I think we're going to lead with what the facts are and try to get better there.
Dave, Emory Jones seems to be that mobile type quarterback that y'all have struggled with at times.
Mm-hmm.
Does it help that y'all have gone against some guys like that this year?
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think his ability to create. There are times for sure where he threads a needle. There's times where he goes through his progression reads, and he is effective as a drop back passer. I think when he is at his best is when he is on the move, when things break down, when there's creative plays to be made. I think this last week, coming off some time to reflect for them, they had a bunch of QB runs, and more so than in the past, and so I can only see them leaning into that more.
Y'all are near the bottom in rushing offense this season. What are the keys to kind of get that part of the offense going a little bit more in the second half of the season?
Appreciate that. Yeah, we talked throughout the bye about throwing it in order to run it, and so I think that's a big emphasis for us, and that's something that has to change from the beginning of the year of trying to run it and run it again, and then not be successful, and then throw it at the end of the down, on third down. So to throw it, try to be creative to get those 4 yards, to stay on track and to stay on schedule, and so that it's not run, pass, but it's it's a bubble screen here, it's a access throw there, and I think that's something that we're way paying attention to and involved in right now.
You said you're going to use the bye to get healthy, let the players rest. Do you feel that this team is as healthy as it can be going into the road?
Appreciate that. Yeah, there's been a fair amount of setbacks, just injury-wise, this year. I do believe that going into, we got practice today, and then we've got full pads practice tomorrow. We'll be the healthiest that we've been in a while, and so we want to be able to continue that, kind of build on that as we go. And the practice is going to be a little bit different from the bye week and now to the end of the season, to try to maintain that level of readiness with the team and try to get guys to Saturday as best we can.
Dave, Mac Rose mentioned that he talks with you a lot, which is, I guess, normal for an AD and a football, or any coach.
Yeah.
But he also mentioned kind of just it being the eyes and the ears of what he sees. How much do you talk football with him?
A fair amount, yeah. And so I appreciate the question. And, it's whenever I talk with Mac, I think there is an unfiltered truth, and there is a sincerity and, compassion with everything. And so I take it very serious, and we try to apply whatever comes out of those conversations. And so I think sometimes when you're so locked into what you're doing, and it's good to be able to have the view, to have another view, another perspective. And so I count on Mac for that.
Coach, it seems like Blake's really kind of taken that next step, and like you said earlier, kind of leaning on the pass this
Right.
year rather than the run game. What have you seen from him, and kind of does he need to keep putting out those kind of numbers, or do you want him to kind of take a step back so the run game can, excel?
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think Blake's improvement has been a long time coming. I think through all of last year and the struggles of it and just all of the growth. I think it's, for as much as the struggles are frustrating and debilitating at times, it feels that way in the moment. I mean, there can be such growth that can come out of it. And, it's a matter of how you look at it and how you use it. And I just think Blake's done an amazing job that way. And I just think he's just way strong, mentally strong. And, I think he will continue to show that and to be a leader for us with that. I think the run game has to improve to help him. I think we have to throw to open it up to get the angles and the numbers in the run game that we want. And so, finding ways to run it without running it is something that we've been looking hard at.
You guys open up as 1-point underdogs
Mhm.
heading into that road game. Is that kind of the mentality this week? Are you guys feeding into that?
No, appreciate that. We try to stay outside of, or to try to stay kind of insulated and inside of the outside with that. I think a lot of this week for us is going to be just on improvement, and is going to be on focus and the mindset. I think, if something hasn't worked in the past, the past is not predictive of the future, right? It's what we do right now in the present. It's what our mindset is right now that will lead to a brighter future. And so a lot of it's that, and I think especially with the amount of youth and young guys that are playing, and this is a couple games in for them, but I don't believe we're at the point to where, and I speak to this from experience because I've tried it. So, yeah, I don't believe we're at the point to where any of the, and maybe it's just my raw stuff, but any of this really has any, it doesn't have the effect on them when they're still worried about the job that they're doing, right? Their execution for this play, their ID, their communication, picture just changed. I gotta see this, I gotta say that. And so any form of, outside coming in, I think just muddies the water. And so we want that really clear so they can be confident in what they do and play to their utmost ability. And so that's the view going in.
Dave, I know you guys as coaches take it real week to week and stuff, but is this team capable of finishing, at least 4-2 and getting back to a bowl game, you think?
I believe so. I have faith in this team. I have faith in the staff. I've got faith in everybody here, and it's for sure frustrating to know that you're not performing at the level that you can. And when you see it in spurts and then you don't see it when it matters, that hurts, And so then what do you do with that? And how do you move on from that? And I think that's been a big part of this year. And I just feel in trying to build continue to pour into our people and get them to see the strength of the team and what the team is capable of doing, I think will pay off. And I feel like we're on that track.
Dave, second road game, obviously last one, historic comeback for you guys. What aspect of being on the road do you think your guys maybe lock in a little bit more than maybe being at home? Or, what's the difference? We've talked about how, road games, maybe it's a different setting. It's a way to block out. There's no real noise from being at home, right? What do you kind of see from your guys on the road maybe?
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think you've mentioned a few of them. I think the other ones is that it's just us, whereas I think sometimes when you're at home, first of all, we have to play better at home, and it's disappointing with how we've played, and it's not something that's acceptable. But I think when you're on the road, it's just us, and it's just very clear, and there's nothing else. And so when you have them in the hotel on Friday, and then whatever time you have them on Saturday, it just kind of hits home that it's us versus all of Ohio, and us versus the town of Cincinnati, and it's just us. And I think, it's always that way, but when you're on the road, it's much more clear of a picture.
Coach, I know Cincinnati has great history with developing secondary guys. They even have some size at those positions. And when you look at the receiver room, and Monterey is a guy, probably the best weapon and target right now. How do you feel about him going in some of those matchups? And do you think there's a potential that they've kind of maybe figured him out a little bit, or that, he's kind of number one guy on their radar in terms of the pass game?
Appreciate that. I think I think defensive staff-wise, I know a bunch of their people and their coaches, and are way impressed with them, and just their growth in the profession, and the defenses as they're playing now. I think they make it hard on folks. The linebackers are way aggressive and attack downhill, and they'll add in on play action pass, and then on the secondary plays a kind of a flat or tilted alignment, and then we'll run out and create something else. They'll show it one high and get to two high. Long Island did a little of this when we played them. And so the pre-snap look is not what you're going to get in the post-snap. So you got to play through the down. Meanwhile, they're just kind of screaming up the field, whether it's the front or the linebacker group. And so they make it tough on you. And so I think within all of that, though, I think our outside receivers, have been itching to play better. And I think the last two games have not been a testament to what they're capable of, and they're looking for an opportunity to kind of show what they can do. And then I think, because of that, Monterey's been more singled up and has had more of an opportunity. And so to see kind of where it goes in this game, right? There's a fair amount of single high, which would equate to kind of what it's been the last couple weeks. We got to perform better on the outside, and then we got to be more creative with Monterey in finding ways to get them touches that are not down the field throws that require us to pass protect.
Mike Smith was a big loss. How did Josh fill in for him? And I was wondering if, while you were at LSU, did you help recruit him?
Yes, appreciate that. Yeah, Mike was a big loss. Mike was really kind of the heartbeat of everything. And, for Josh to fill in, and to fill in with confidence and energy and excitement, is kind of a testament to him. Josh has been kind of grinding it out for a while. And for a guy to be in the dark and then to have a shot at the light and be able to be ready in the moment, hey, it's your time, this is the check, this is the call, and to be on it is a cool thing. And it just shows that he was always kind of ready and positioning himself. And so I look for really good things from him coming up. I think his preparation is one of his strengths, and his care factor, was a part of his recruitment at LSU. And so that kind of brings you back. But it was funny in just recruiting him, and just the relationship with him and his family and all of it have just become really tight. And so it's good to see him have some success and have a chance.
Dave, as someone who's kind of a deep thinker, if that's the fair way to, what's the difference between you taking your time to make decisions as a head coach in season, which is a marathon, and having to be able to go like this constantly as well, week to week?
Appreciate the question. Yeah, I think the the big questions, the big decisions, I think you're always looking to get a clear vision on that, a clearer perspective, and I think I always start with, hey, this we've all invested, we've all sacrificed for this to work. This is going to work, and then when it doesn't, you really got to look at, is it people, is it process, is it mindset, where it is, and so I think the ability to kind of go through all that and go through that with a fine tooth comb is way important, because what you want to get to is the truth, and so I think those big decisions are time consuming, and rightfully so. I think within those there are the week to week ones or the game to game ones, and those are all kind of part and parcel of the big ones. And so when you're spending time thinking about maybe it's this is how a Tuesday practice is going to be, or maybe this is how we're going to travel on the road, or maybe this is what our Saturday on a night game looks like. Any of those types of decisions, there's byproducts of that kind of come off of those thoughts. And so I think it's as it continues, as I go just in this role, those things have come a little bit easier because you spend more time thinking about them.
Coach, the loss before the bye, obviously the team was frustrated, you were frustrated. What would a win on the road do for the team morale-wise?
Appreciate that. Yeah, we need a win, and I think staff and their families and our players and their families, we're working really hard to get one. And so I think to have some time off this past week at the end of the week, and have some good work prior to it with some really strong truth telling and adjustments and just all that in the middle of the week, or on that Thursday. And then having some time to reflect on it and kind of get juiced up for a really, really good week. And that's the feeling that we have now. And that's the feeling I know the guys have been lifting and working out this morning. And I know they're excited. I can hear them from down below. And so we're excited to go to work. This is a team that is together and believes, and we've invested a lot for that to be the case. And so we got to put it together and get a win.